Now, I know I'm the last person you expected to make this video, but it's getting really annoying at this point. Real quick, for those who don't know, just a few months ago I released a set of videos going over why I thought the reason William started killing was to find a way to put his son back together. If it wasn't obvious, this is a result of the FNAF 4 minigames showing the Fredbear plush say he'll put the crying child back together, only for Sister Location to suggest that William was the one behind the plush, and that Michael would end up reiterating the idea by saying William told him to put his sister back together. It's hard not to see the parallels there. And looking at it from a surface value, this led myself and many others far before my theory came out to actually believe that William was a grieving father willing to stop at nothing to bring his son back. But if you remember, I stopped that series around Save Them, as my timeline suggested that the child we'll call Cassidy, for the sake of simplicity, was killed and stuffed in this event. The issue with this is that she ends up getting stuffed in the same suit that the crying child possessed, which doesn't really make sense from a grieving father standpoint. I couldn't wrap my head around why William would shove another kid instead of scooping the crying child out and putting him in a new body. Again, sounds like complete gibberish if you never watched any of my videos, but none of that matters, as around that time, the core of this theory, dubbed now Will Care, pissed a lot of people off, and rightfully so. Imagine some dude took an important character to a series that you love and completely misrepresented them to a large amount of people. What's funny is I actually felt this exact same way about William, just the opposite, ignoring the fact that William, being some broken father, goes against his entire character. We've seen William. He's a cunning, egotistical monster, which doesn't really work well if you're trying to tell a story about a broken father. So in case you couldn't tell, I don't actually believe any of that anymore, and I believe I owe it to my audience to clarify that I was wrong. Actually, amidst the drama this sparked, I found the only option that I truly enjoy, because the point of those videos was to try and deviate new members of the fandom from believing the annoying William was some bloodthirsty killer for sport. I feel like the whole purpose of Sister Location was to show there was more to just killing at random. William was trying to achieve something regardless of who he hurt, which would explain why William would warn his own children to stay away from the animatronics, despite not feeling too bad when the kids ended up getting hurt, but rather how them getting hurt made him look, which is why I think William actually hated Michael. He spent years building up the perfect image, and Michael's mistake showed that William was capable of making mistakes, such as displaying dangerous robots inside of a child's pizzeria. I think William doesn't hate his children or care about his children. I think he's a sociopath and just wants control. What solidified this to me was the movie, as we clearly see that Vanessa isn't some robot to our knowledge, and that Will already has control over the animatronics, so he never was reduced to using his own daughter to understand how they worked, just like Elizabeth. He keeps Vanessa around until she starts to disobey him, in which he stabs her. I think this is part not needing her and silencing her from revealing his past to the public. Does this change William's motivation? Yes, but that doesn't mean the lines of put him back together does not exist. William would be willing to put his family back together, but not out of care for his family, but rather to manipulate them into believing he was doing all of these experiments to help them, despite working towards a different goal, his own immortality. I know, another hypocritical statement, but the evidence I used during those videos was that it didn't really make sense for William to stay in a location when he could just escape and fix himself, so he was just accepting life. But could he really have fixed himself? We see in the fourth closet that William does manage to start fixing himself, but only because he has Baby there to help him. William understood that he needed help if he wanted to keep fixing himself, which is why when he sees Michael, he tries to get to Michael, not kill him, because William Afton was dead, so there was no reputation that he needed to save. All he needed was someone to help him, but what he didn't expect was that Michael understandably wasn't too happy about being the whole immortal thing, and wanted to get rid of William. it makes a lot of pieces fall into place as compared to Will Care or William being nothing but a psychopath. And immortality isn't necessarily his only motivation, or at least I don't think it's that simple. In a tweet by @TheCrappyCat, they go into detail about how William's motivation is actually the fear of hell itself. I've left a link in the description for all of you to read because it really fits him nicely. To sum it up, it explains there are a lot of pieces inside of the novels that go into how William actually does believe that a hell exists, and it really leaves Henry's lines inside of FNAF 6 to have a lot more feeling towards saying, you are gone, you did not achieve what you wanted to, William, this is it, you're done. It really does help the character. It explains why he would try and keep such a good image and why he envied Henry so much. He knew he wasn't a good person, but tried to push it off until it developed into the mess people continued to try and clean up generations later. I actually like this version of William, who's willing to have a wife, children, and build up this life all to try and make himself look like a normal person. And it really shows his impact of what he's capable of, given he's made the people reading and watching these stories fall for his lies. So maybe making this video will end up ruining that magic? Nah, I don't think I have that kind of pull, but seriously, can we let Will Care die? Canonically, at the very least. Now, if you excuse me, my life's a mess and I have to pick up the pieces, so, I'll see you all soon. Matane.